What's going on, guys? Chances are if you're watching this video, you're like many others who are wondering what it takes to install the Downforce Solutions front splitter on your Focus RS. I got another project going on today where I need to take off the front bumper, so it's a good time to do a kind of a rundown on the process on installing these guys. It's not too bad. I'm not going to fully disassemble it from the bumper, but when I do get the bumper off, I'll explain, what goes where and why. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on getting the bumper off, and then we'll go more into detail. Okay, so this is with the bumper still on. If we look underneath the car, you'll see that right here are those Z brackets that Downforce Solutions provides for you. There's 3 of them. Now, there's going to be 3 holes already drilled on your splitter itself, and those holes are going to coincide with factory bolting points on the front portion of the splash guard, just behind the front of your bumper there. So Downforce Solutions does provide you with hardware for this top section. I just reuse the stock stuff that they already have there. It's just the little plastic piece and the little T30 that screws in. I didn't see a need to actually install the hardware, as it's not really holding any weight. I mean, it's pretty much, it's just kind of supporting the rear portion of the splitter here. But I mean, I've had these on here for a year and I haven't had any issues, and I don't see any reason to put the hardware on and take all the other stuff out. This just makes install a heck of a lot easier just using the stock stuff. So this back portion, that's where these Z brackets are going to go, on the left, in the center, and on the passenger side. So you can see the orientation. To the left is the front of the car, to the right is towards the rear of the car. So that's going to be the orientation for you. So fairly simple. That's where those guys go. Alright, so if you choose the V2 splitter like I have, we've got the fins on the sides here. You're going to be drilling 10 holes total on the splitter itself. If you have the V1 version without the fins, you're only going to be drilling 6 holes, because there's going to be 4 total for each one of these fins. You can see there's 2 there, and that it's going to be up to you where you want it mounted. I just had mine with the rear butted up against the rear of the splitter itself, so you can put those in more, out more, wherever you want them. That's your choice, and that's self-explanatory how to put those in. Just put it where you want it, mark a hole, drill it out, bolt it on. So that's really simple there. The other 2 are going to be right here for the support rods. So that's going to be personal preference. Those don't have to go like this. I chose to mount mine like this just because it goes with the bumper. You can see the line of the bumper there coincides with the rod. So it was just most aesthetically pleasing to me in particular. But like I said, you can mount those any way you want. Anywhere along here, whatever angle. Some people like to mount it up in here and have them out. So personal preference. Those are going to be the other 2. Same with the other side. Got the 2 for the fins. Now if we look underneath the car here, you can see that on the intersection of the outside towards the wheel well, these are going to be the self tappers that come with the kit. So we're going to have 2 on each side, and that's to keep this side piece from flapping around. Now these are going to be screwed directly into the bottom of your bumper. Now don't worry if you ever want to remove this, the holes are underneath, so you're not going to see them from the outside of the car if you do choose to remove the splitter at a later date. So don't be scared about screwing into your bumper. Just make sure that you eyeball it really good to make sure you get them in the proper spot and that they're going straight in. So we look on the other side. We got the same thing, 2 self tappers, and the outer 2 are the bolts for the fins. Alright, so we got the front bumper removed. Now you can better see the locations on here for the mounting points. So again, these are the self tappers here. Those are for the fin on the side. We've got those Z brackets in the back here. One here, one here, one here. Now you can see that they coincide with the holes that are on that front splash guard. And if we come around here and look down in there, you can see that's where the bolts go. Right, there's one there. There's one. Let's see if I can hard to zoom in. You can see it. Sorry, it's blurry, but you can see it up front there, and then all along down there. So those are going to be the stock mounting points for this front splash guard, and you're going to want to reuse this front splash guard. Some people install a splitter without it, but if you do that, you're going to lose this piece here. Let's see, is this focusing? Okay, so you need to retain this piece here, otherwise you're not going to have a flush fit when you reinstall it on the car. Things just aren't going to match up, so you're going to want to reuse this front splash guard. Now, to reuse the front splash guard, what you're going to have to do is remove the little curb scraper that's bolted onto it, and there's also a little section of lip that's also on there, and you're going to want to use a Dremel and cut that lip off because you want this flush, otherwise it's not going to slip in. So what I did is I slipped this front splash guard in, and those stock holes, I was actually able to get those holes on the little piece of bolt that was protruding from the nut after I bolted the splitter on. So I put the splitter on first, bolted that, and then afterwards I slipped the splash guard back in. So that's kind of like the pain in the ass process of this. So like I said, you remove the bumper, remove the splash guard, the front splash guard, cut off or remove the scraper piece for the curb scraper. Then you're going to cut off a little section of lip that's on that front splash guard. Install the splitter, and after the splitter is bolted on, all those bolts in the front, then we're going to work on slipping this in. And like I said, you don't have to pop them over those bolts, but it worked for me. I was able to get in. That was kind of a pain in the ass trying to get this to slip in and pop over those bolts, but it holds it in very nicely, and with a little bit of elbow grease it'll work. So that's how I was able to do mine and still retain this front splash guard and this little cap piece right here on the end, which you want to be able to reuse so everything mounts back up flush. So that's the hard part, but you can see kind of how everything goes together here. It's not too bad. Like I said, this is the tedious part of it, and it's essential that you remove the scrape guard here and then that little piece of lip, otherwise this will not slip in. So you see, you got to slip it in between this section of the grill here and the splitter. So it's a tight fit, but it'll go in there. Just be persistent, and you may have to use like a little bit of a pry bar to kind of work it around on the inside to get it to pop over those bolts. But once you do, I mean, the sucker's on here solid. You know, I mean, it's not even screwed in anywhere. It's just solely being held on by those bolts up front. And then after we reinstall this, there's a T30 here, T30 here, and then those T30s where those Z brackets go. So everything bolts up like it should, and there's no shaking or moving around or rattling or anything. It's all nice and tight. So that's how I did mine. So this is kind of a rundown of, you know, pretty much what it's going to take to install one of these. It's not too bad. I get a lot of people messaging me about this, asking how to do the installation for the front splitter. So like I said, I'm not going to take it all apart and show you step by step, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can see kind of where everything goes and how it all goes together. So hopefully this video helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to help you out. Hey, one more thing I forgot to mention too: when you install your support rods here, the best time that I found to do it is when the bumper is off like this, because now you can easily access the inside. So you can see that's where I put my hardware there to mount my support rods. So you can choose to put it here on the side, in the middle, whatever. So take this opportunity while the bumper's off the car to figure out where you want to get those support rods mounted up. So yeah,